Content over everything. You've misunderstood something.
Joseph,
Gandalf, you've misunderstood something.
You're right. Honestly, you're right.
You said that you cannot convert to Judaism. This is your word. Your words.
Absolute nonsense.
Your words.
No, it's not.
You know what?
Anyone can look
what
on the internet.
It is what it is. I don't need to debate it. It's on the comment section.
Okay.
It's on video.
Content over everything.
As this camera is on me, I will give you £50.
No, my point.
Hey, I will give you £50.
Sorry, you've
£50.
proven- no.
No, £50.
When you talk, when we talk about Judaism, are we talking about a monolithic religion? It's just one way, or are there different branches and different opinions? Because this man will play games.
He does this all the time.
I know. He will play games. He'll be like a serpent, moving all over the place.
So yes, but the thing is now many Jews are claiming Jewish is a race as well. I say so.
So Jewish is
It's a religion. It's a religion. And it's a race.
So we don't use the term. We don't use the lashon race. We use the lashon.
Just to finish my point. That's why the Zionism they use the race
card, the race card,
to make people. Selected people that not no one can be a Jew.
No.
I use the
hold on. To respond to both of those points.
Hold on. Now I'm going to use historians, Jewish historians, like Shlomo Sand. Yes.
He's not. He's a quack. He's a crank.
Is he Jewish?
He's Jewish. Yes.
Is he historian?
Is
he historian?
No. He's been discredited. He's not.
Is he a historian?
No.
He's not.
He's not.
He's not.
He's Shlomo Sand.
He's a propagandist.
No.
He's a political activist
He's a historian.
against Israel.
made modernist.
Okay, I can show you from the book here.
I've got the book at home. I've got the book.
Okay, you read the book?
I've read the book.
So what it says in the book?
So that he tries to claim that every single Jewish people,
Yes.
that from the Yemenites through to the Moroccans, through to the Ashkenazi Jews, none of them are real Jews.
Thank you.
That's his argument.
And
he's a lone voice. Every single academic in the international community is against him.
What colour was Moses?
Hold on.
What colour was Moses? So can I
Just
respond?
to finish my point and then I go.
We're jumping around.
Okay, Shlomo Sand is saying what the majority of Jews are Ashkenazi. They are not Semitic. They are not Semite.
According to him. But if I show you my DNA, I can show you it goes back to Israel.
There is.
Goes back to Israel. Look at me. I couldn't look more Irish, yet I, the most Irish-looking Jew in the village, has DNA that goes back to Israel.
I couldn't look more Viking, and here the most Viking-looking Jew in the village. I can do mine as well.
Okay.
I've got mine as well.
Okay, hold on. The thing is, there could be exceptions, but the exceptions doesn't represent the majority. Maybe there is exceptions. Maybe you're the case, but the majority of the Jews are not Semitic. Hold on. Now, there are another historians. Alvin Kostler, he published a book, there are 13 tribes.
I know the book.
Again,
I know the book.
Yeah,
They've excommunicated him.
Thank you.
Listen. They don't want to hear about us.
They're saying what? They come
The
from Ashkenazi.
Jews
They are not
generally,
Semitic.
especially the Zionists, don't want to hear.
Especially the Zionists.
Don't want to hear about Arthur Koestler. You don't want to hear about Arthur Koestler.
So your argument hinges on the Khazar theory, yeah?
Yeah.
So if we were Khazarian, yeah, which is what they claim, yeah, first and foremost there would be traces in the language, yeah? So Yiddish isn't based off a Turkish language, you know?
Yiddish. It's a type of
German.
Listen,
German.
It's an Indo-European language.
Yes, Yiddish is
It's
a
an
German.
Indo-European language.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So I'm asking, where is there any evidence?
Any
evidence at all? No, let me finish my
Yiddish?
point.
Oh, he won't let you
Yiddish?
finish. He's not interested
Was
in it.
Yiddish
He's just interested in
spoken
spoken
in Palestine, ancient Palestine?
No.
Ancient Palestine. What's ancient Palestine?
You know what I'm talking about.
No, you educate
Where
me.
the Philistines live. The Philistines.
Palestine. Where did they live? Where did they live? You tell me where Palestine.
That same region, Gaza and all that now.
Yeah,
all of that
okay,
region.
Gaza, you're right.
Were they speaking Yiddish? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
But the Palestine, what does Palestine mean? What
Okay.
does Palestine mean?
Okay.
No. Do you know what it means?
What, Philistine?
Yeah, in Hebrew it's Palestine.
I don't know what Philistine means.
Palestine means, so I'm going to educate you. It means invader. It means,
Invader.
and they were an Aegean, they were Greek people that came on boats.
The Philistine were Greek.
Yes.
Not only.
Okay, anyone on the internet can look up
Yes.
the Philistines.
So why are
and
there
they were
black
an Aegean
Palestinians today?
people.
Not only.
Why are there black
You're making a
Palestinians
mistake.
today
You're
that have been
making a
there for
mistake.
centuries?
Who are the black Palestinians? Sorry,
What do you mean, who are the black-
I've
Listen.
got thousands and thousands of Palestinian friends. The ones I know who are black come from Somalia. They come from various other places from Africa. I don't know any Palestinians that look like you.
Now, listen.
No. I'm asking, where do they live? Wherever. I just came back from Ramallah. I just came back from Rawadi.
Oh, they let you out today?
I go there all the time. I'm a peace activist. To be a peace activist, you have to visit the Palestinians.
He won't answer that.
So wait, no, Judaism. So this is the thing. Judaism doesn't.
Was
talk
Moses a
about-
Jew?
Moses was a Jew, yeah.
What colour was he?
So
Hold on,
again,
hold on.
so again.
Charlton Heston is Moses.
So it's highly,
Charlton Heston is
highly
Moses.
likely. I would bet anybody here that Moses didn't look like me. I'm
No, we
half
didn't
Irish,
ask
half
you
Jew.
that. We didn't
So
ask
I'm
you
trying
that.
to answer the question,
Okay.
Mr. Shaky Hands.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say.
But you can express yourself with your hands, but I can't.
No, this is your hands keep on coming towards me. My hands don't.
Don't worry, I won't harm you.
I'm not worried.
Don't imply that
I'm
I'm gonna
smiling
harm
at you. I'm
Don't
not
imply
worried.
that I'm gonna harm you.
You don't. I'm not afraid
I
of
know
you.
you
We're not
people, you
nervous.
have this,
Your hands have been shaking throughout the
this
beginning.
way of
Gandalf, be quiet.
trying to.
I'm not gonna be quiet. This is Speaker's Corner, bro.
So to respond to this question, he's asked what color. Judaism does not obsess over race. Moses' wife, we believe, was I don't know how you say it. If she was from the people of Cushite, is that the Hebrew word?
She was from Midian.
Yeah. And she was.
Can I quickly just show him something? You can convert into Judaism.
Which is what I said.
It's not what you said. Why would I put it as a point on YouTube if that is what
Show
you
me,
said?
not where you say you can convert. Show me where I say you can't convert.
This is how you catch out a liar. This is how
Okay,
you catch
show
out a
me
liar.
where I've
This
said
is how
you can't
catch a
convert.
liar. Why would I put it as the first point, Joseph?
Because you got confused. No, he's telling me that I say you can't convert to Judaism.
No,
When I
carry
got
on, carry on,
Calvin
carry on.
Moses to
What you're
convert.
searching. My friend here, my brother here asked you what colour
Okay,
is Moses.
and I'm trying to answer.
And you're saying,
So let me answer.
You're
let me
saying
answer.
he ain't look
So
like
see,
you.
See a man here, Avi Yemeni. So he's a Jew. I don't know where he's from. I'd imagine somewhere Middle
I'd be very
Eastern.
careful about saying whether or not someone is because you don't know their
No, what?
genealogy.
Okay.
I'd be very careful.
Okay,
You don't know where
Gandalf, let me speak. So what I'm trying to say is within Judaism, most of the Jews that remained in the Middle East they looked more like their Arab neighbours than they looked like me. Yeah? What they didn't look
And what
is
does an
black.
Arab look like?
Well, they're a lot darker than me.
An Arab.
Are you talking about colonized people that speak Arabic with the spread of Islam? Or are you talking about people that descend from the Semitic
There were
people of Arabia?
companions that were with- Hold on. There were companions with the Prophet Muhammad who had names like Miqdad ibn al-Aswad. Do you know what that means? Miqdad, the black man, or the son of the black person. Hold on, wait, before you interject, wait. Please. So, there were black Quraysh. There were black tribes.
So why can
There were
Muslims
black
Arabs
tribes.
be black but Jews can't? So
Hold
I've got
on.
Ethiopian Jewish friends who don't look like me. You guys
glad
construct
recognise
straw
that.
men.
I'm
You
glad,
construct
I'm glad you
straw men.
recognise that. They're Ethiopian, Falashite, black Jews.
We don't call them falasha, that's an offensive term.
How did you deal with them when they came to Israel?
So
How did your
I'll tell you
people
how
deal with them?
I'm taking them to Israel today. There are 8,000 left that I campaign with because they want to come to Israel. So don't
What are
take
you
your
going to do?
racial
Enslave
prejudice.
them when they get there?
So do you know any Ethiopian Jews that live in Israel? Or if you only watched on Al Jazeera? Because I want to establish facts.
Al Jazeera. What's Al Jazeera got to do with the price
Because
of peanuts?
Israel's enemies put out misinformation and lies about the condition and the plight of the Ethiopian Jews in Israel. And so there are many, it's a mouthpiece of the Qatari government, you fool.
All media outlets can't be trusted. I don't trust
I
BBC.
would agree with that.
I don't trust Al Jazeera.
I would agree with that.
I
Working
don't
with
trust
the
none of
press,
them
I agree with
because
you.
they all have agendas. So forget that.
But what
So
I'm,
forget
so
that.
where have you got your
So forget
information that Ethiopian Jews in Israel are oppressed? Where have you got that from, if not from the mainstream?
There's many testimonies from them themselves.
There are so many lies told about Ethiopian Jews. I say this as somebody who prays with them, who's got many, many friends. One of my favourite cuisines in Israel is Ethiopian. I spend more time in Ethiopian
I
restaurants
like
than
this
anything else.
narrative of all this love and peace and
Because that's what I am. I'm a peace
That might be
activist.
you. That might be you.
So what has
That
the
might be
Israeli
you.
government done other than rescue the Ethiopian Jews from Marxist terrorists in Ethiopia, took them to Israel, where they're now integrated and have a much.
How many of those?
None have gone back.
How many went back?
None have gone back.
Many went back.
Nonsense. Show me.
Many went back.
Nonsense. Lies.
Your government,
Lies.
Netanyahu said he's going to send
Lies.
at least 40,000
So
to
to
Europe.
the extent,
You see,
the only ones that
what's
are allowed,
happening here?
because the only ones that are allowed back, the only ones that were allowed
His own
back
government said they're gonna
were the
kick
Jewish
out
ones.
40,000
Christian Ethiopians who weren't Jewish weren't allowed
To
in.
Europe.
Many Christian
60,000.
Ethiopians said that they were Jewish so they could come here. They then came to Israel, continued practicing Christianity. They weren't thrown out. Even the Christians that came here.
Classical Christian, okay? He won't stay on a particular topic. He'll go all over the place. You understand? So let's tie him down. Let's try and tie him down. Okay,
Your
Joseph.
government, do you agree? Last
Hold on,
time
my brother.
they
Hold on, my
made-
brother.
Sorry, just to say,
No, hold on, my brother,
60,000 you're kicking out.
No. You see what we're doing? We're giving him
No. So now you're confusing. 16,000. Yeah, 16,000, but they're not Ethiopian Jews. This is where people muddy the water. There were Somalian, Sudanese, and various other asylum seekers who are black and not Jewish who've sought asylum. And here I disagree with the Israeli government. The Israeli government saying
What about the women getting
it's
stoned?
flipped. So that's again another misinformation. There was an independent investigation by an individual called Shapiro, and it was basically there were contraceptions which were injected. You can get them here over the counter, and it was communicated poorly. And some Ethiopian Jewish women were given contraception which lasted for 3 months, and they didn't realise they were getting it. And it wasn't by the government; it was by a third party.
Are you the chosen race?
Pardon?
Are you from the chosen race?
According to your book, yes, but according to me, no. There's no such thing as race.
My book.
Yeah, the Quran. The Quran
No,
says
Allah
the Jews were
says
chosen.
they were.
Not
Key
anymore.
word, they were.
So fine.
They were.
But that's
Key
your
word,
language.
they were.
That's your
So,
language. See,
no.
can I just stop.
According
Habibi,
according
you're
to
jumping
religion.
around again. You're jumping
What you
around
say-
again. Stay on point. Stay on point.
You're quoting the Quran.
When hold on.
Stay
hold
on subject, yeah? So you've now jumped
According
into
to the
am I
video,
chosen?
according to the video, when you
Which
look back,
video?
I was saying we need to tie you down on one topic because you're the one who keeps changing the trajectory of the conversation.
What subject have you've changed
Let's-
it to
let's-
Ethiopians, you've changed it
Who
to
did?
chosen,
Who did?
you've changed it to
Who
race,
did?
you've changed it to everything. You're running around like headless chickens.
No. You're taking the debate all over the place.
I'm responding directly
Please,
to each one of your points.
please. No, please. That's what I'm saying, brothers.
Okay,
Please
stop.
let one of us address him at a time.
topic.
One at a time.
One God, one topic.
My brother interjected.
hold on.
Hold on, my brother. My brother interjected and he asked me to ask you what color was Moses. Instead of you saying what color he was, you said he didn't look like you. That could mean anything.
No, I actually
What
did it.
color
So if you watch it back
was
on the video,
Moses?
I said it's more likely that he looked like all the Jews from the Middle East and the Arabs who live in
What
the
do
Middle
you
East
call
than
a Jew
me.
from the Middle East?
A darker complexion
How
than me.
dark? How dark?
says bronze
How
in the
dark?
But I'm half Irish. So
We're not
like-
asking you about you. We're asking about Moses.
And I just answered about Moses.
What color was he?
I just said it's most likely
Yes.
that he looked like the people of that region, be it Syria, Jordan,
What
Israel. I just named it, the Middle
Where
East.
did Moses live?
So Moses lived he descends from people from Iraq. So the Jews came from Iraq. I'm trying to answer your question. It's not a yes/no answer. He then his people descended to Egypt. He grew up in Egypt, and then he left Egypt and wandered around the desert. Is where Moses lived.
Do you agree that he grew up in the house of Pharaoh?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
What color was that Pharaoh?
So you tell me. If you look at all the casts, they don't look like you.
What color was
If you
Pharaoh?
look at all the mummy, the what you call the
Who's saying?
sarcophagus.
Listen. Hold on 1 minute. Listen. Africa and African people aren't monolithic.
Who said they? I didn't say
No,
that.
but you're saying he didn't look like
You're
me.
saying black.
You're
You're
saying-
a black man. I'm
listen,
a white man.
listen,
Yes.
you're saying-
black man, white man.
You're saying-
I'm using us as the benchmark.
Are you
You're
finished?
saying he doesn't
Are you
look like me.
finished?
I'm saying he
Are
doesn't
you
look like
finished?
you.
Are you finished?
He looks like me.
Who?
Are we talking about
What are you talking about first? No, Moses, no Pharaoh. So Moses is my cousin, he looks like me.
Where are you from?
I'm from my mother.
Guys,
go back
I'm
to
going to
you.
get a glass of
Let me
water.
go back to
I'll
you.
be back in 2 minutes. I
Let
need
me
to
go
get
back
some water. I'm dying
I
here.
want some water.
I,
Or don't you want to put your mouth on the bottle of a Gentile?
no, it's nothing to do with that. I
That's
just
okay.
rather get my own water.
Oh.
It's nothing to do with you being
I just
Gentile.
have some-
He doesn't want to drink from
Would you
your
want some
Korean
water? You want some water,
Yes,
brother?
please.
Let me give my brother some water.
That's fine.
I'll stay.
Nice and cool as well.
Thank you.
And please.
Was renamed Israel.
You said Pharaoh and Moses didn't look like me. Did I say they did? Did I say that? Did I imply that?
Conversation.
You're never arguing that Pharaoh did not look like him.
Gandalf. Let me
You're
talk to
never
him,
arguing
Gandalf.
that. There's more than enough scientific and anthropological proof to prove that
The Pharaoh looked like him.
Dynasties
The
of
pharaohs were
There
black
were
like
Semitic dynasties, there were different dynasties that sat in Egypt.
No.
Okay?
They were Afro-Asiatic, they were not...
Okay, here we go, Gandalf. You're going to get owned again,
You
Gandalf.
see,
You're going
when
to
it,
get owned again.
when
Go
it
on,
comes,
bring up the
you
evidence.
see,
Sorry,
this
go
guy, you can't discuss anything with him.
I don't mind.
He's too
I don't
irrational
mind.
and
Sheikh
too emotional.
Anthony Diop proved this guy wrong ages
Because
ago.
look,
I don't really need to do
when you
anything
look
about
at the
this.
movement of people through this region, when they say the Middle East, Egypt's Africa. It's not in the Middle East of anywhere.
Of course.
Egypt has always been in Africa.
Of course.
However, you have different swathes of people because of wars, because of trade, because of all different reasons.
You guys are scholars.
People coming
How
in
do I
and
pronounce
coming
the
out
word?
of
How do I
Africa
pronounce this
stroke
dynasty?
Egypt.
What's that? Hyksos.
So where were they? So where were they from?
We know who the Hyksos are.
Yeah.
The Hyksos were white people.
No, I'm not saying they were. I'm saying where
They're
were they
another,
from?
they're another type
They
of,
didn't look like you though.
What
they're
age?
another type of
What age?
Semitic people.
This was-
Listen, when the pharaohs were in Egypt, they were black kings.
You were the
And when
expert. You should know
they-
what age.
I'm asking you what age.
The
So I'm
pharaohs were
looking at
blacks.
Wikipedia. You tell me. You're the expert. I know the
Give me
date.
the
I'm
age,
looking at
Joe.
The
Wikipedia.
pharaohs were blacks and the
We know
Hyksos
this.
were
We know
kings.
this.
Of course you know this.
The pharaohs
You know
were blacks
everything, Gandalf.
and the Hyksos were kings.
Yeah, and they basically
Moses
came
was
to
with a
Egypt,
pharaoh,
and then
a
they
black
became
man.
the pharaohs of Egypt.
And Egypt was black at this
This is
time.
the thing, they like to take not the
in your
head
Bible,
kingdom,
Chosenness.
the little kingdom.
In
The
950.
little kingdom.
This is-
So I'm waiting,
This is-
where's the age? Where's the age?
So you
there
tell
were
me, I'm-
27 dynasties, there were
I'm
27 also
looking
dynasties
at
of the Egyptian
Wikipedia.
Empire.
So
I'm waiting
we
for
can
it.
all see
Where
the
is
age,
of the
Gandalf.
Hyksos?
You're the wise one, Gandalf. You tell us.
No,
We're
because
looking at the
we're
age.
talking about the front house. We're talking about little kingdoms within the Egyptian society. So I'll ask you again, Joseph. I'll ask you again, Joseph.
Can we get back to
I'll
the
ask you
subject?
again, Joseph. What age?
So I'm looking at Wikipedia. I never claimed to know the age. I've got
No,
the
but
age
you
on
write- you
Wikipedia.
write- you
But
write
I'm
the
asking
evidence.
Gandalf. I'm
You write
asking
the
you for the age
evidence.
because
You
you're
add
acting
to
like
the
the
See
expert.
one principle we have
this
as
is the thing.
Muslims.
This is the thing. When you bring him something, right? When you ask him, okay, that's great. Now elaborate on that. Oh, I don't really want to elaborate on that. What do you mean?
No, because you said you
went to
know
find
the
evidence,
age.
did you not?
You said you know the
You went
age.
to find the evidence, did you not?
No, I said there was a Semitic. I
I'm
said there was
asking-
a Semitic rulers
No,
of
this
Egypt.
is what happened.
You said
There
no,
were
there
Semitic
wasn't.
Rulers.
Pharaohs.
Mate.
Pharaohs.
Doesn't mean that Egypt itself was Semitic at all.
Gandalf, let me
So
talk
I'll
to this
ask you
man,
again.
please.
Let me-
Gandalf,
let
you're
me-
too smart.
let me-
You're too smart for me,
Let me
Gandalf.
interject.
Let's move on.
So did you
One of the
believe that
principles-
950, the Berbers
Go on.
destroyed
One of the principles we have as
Do I
Muslims
believe
is,
the purpose destroyed
Orthodox Muslims is,
in your Bible.
do not speak without knowledge. And only speak what you know. Don't speak and then search for the information after.
That was in 950.
Have the information first before you search.
Exactly.
And this is what you find with deviated Muslims and people like this individual. They speak and search for the evidence.
don't know it,
And then when they don't find the evidence to
The Bible,
support them,
I
they'll
read the
lie.
Bible, but I knew the story.
This is how it is.
This is what he said. He said you cannot convert to Judaism.
This is one principle.
video
we
is
have.
there. The video
One
is there,
principle
so
we
wait.
principle.
Yeah.
You cannot
And he's-
embrace Judaism.
I think 22 generations of his.
And the way they view Gentiles, if you look at their Talmud and you look at the way they view Gentiles, the best of them should have their heads crushed.
Where does it say that in the Talmud? Where does it say that anywhere?
It says
And
it in
look,
your
can I
Sanhedrin.
just for the camera, we've now moved into
There's always
hardcore
the camera.
anti-Semitism. Every single Orthodox
Maybe-
religious Jew reads the Talmud. This man is now saying that the Talmud teaches Jews to crush the heads of
Apparently,
Gentiles.
questioning
which
murder is
nonsense.
anti-Semitic.
No,
He calls
saying
himself a peacekeeper, but a Zionist
okay,
at the same
guys,
time.
I'm going to bow out on
Completely
this.
erotic.
I'm going to bow out on this. You guys enjoy
No,
each
no,
other.
no, no.
No, but this is what he always
This
does.
is what they do.
He always
This is what they
runs.
do. They run.
Like a Christian.
Show me the
This is the funny
Sanhedrin.
thing, I always hear
Show
about
me
him.
in the Talmud. You said Sanhedrin, yeah? Show me in Sanhedrin where it says that.
Before you
Listen,
show him that,
No.
ask
Let's
him,
go to
where
the
is
source
the age?
material.
Where is the age? We asked you for evidence before.
Okay,
where is the age of
around
the Hyksos?
2000 BC.
It says
2000
BCE.
Show me.
1800. I don't know why. I thought you already knew this.
He's Googled this.
Yeah, I know. I told him I didn't know the age. I told him I was looking at Wikipedia.
So,
it's all on camera. I
point-
don't pretend I have knowledge I don't, unlike Blatt.
The point we were making was that we believe, based upon anthropology and antiquity, that Pharaoh was black. You're saying he didn't look like me.
No, I'm
what
saying
does
which
that
Pharaoh.
mean?
I'm saying
what
which,
does that mean?
I'm saying which
Ramses.
Pharaoh. Ramses?
What? And
So-
there's more than one Ramses.
Yeah, I
by
know.
the way.
Ramses, one Ramses. Are you talking the sarcophagus? Because when we
There
look at
was
the sarcophagus.
the Ramses that was involved with Moses. You know what we're talking
So
about.
let's have have a look at
Stop
something.
being clever. Stop being what you think
trying
is
to be.
clever.
Ask me a question. What does the Talmud say about black people?
It doesn't say anything that.
Oh, of course it doesn't.
But instead of
course
going
it
to a
doesn't.
racist website,
Of
let's
course
go
it
to the
doesn't.
actual Talmud.
Of course it doesn't.
No, it's not a verse. Look.
It is the Talmud
No,
is
no,
divided
one
into.
second.
The Talmud says some very nice things about black
Chief
people.
Rabbi calls black people monkeys.
So that's
Chief
not the
Rabbi of
Talmud.
Israel.
That's an individual.
No, he took it out of the Talmud.
No.
And they have. Do you have a prayer in Judaism? Every morning you say, "Thank God I'm not black."
So no. There's
Yes,
I
you
show
do. Yes, you do.
So let's have a look.
That's
Let's
the
have a
Chief
look at the
Rabbi of
morning.
Israel.
Okay, so now what we've got to do, classic lies.
Chief Rabbi
Show
of
me
Israel
the
called
Hebrew.
black people monkeys.
Show me.
But we're not surprised anyway.
Show me.
We're not surprised because
Okay,
the way, listen,
Citing the example of encountering black person who has two white parents
What are
on
you
the
talking
streets of
about?
America in a footage aired by the...
There is
Yes?
no prayer in Judaism.
There is.
that says
Read it.
there's no
In the
prayer.
times of Israel. In the
Saying
times of
talking about
there
the
is
colour of Moses,
no-
but we can't get into it. No, but
Guys, are you interested in listening to an answer, or do you just want to attack Jews?
Jesus black.
Do you want to attack?
you're not hearing it.
Do you want to?
Chief Rabbi of Israel.
He's gonna throw every
Chief Rabbi of Israel.
So let me respond. There's no prayer in Judaism at all that says thank you for not being
Secular
prayer.
women behave like animals because they dress modestly.
But that's
In
fine.
March
You're
2
quoting a
that's the
rabbi.
chief
You're
ra-
quoting one
The
person.
chief rabbi, not any person.
No. First and foremost, there are different rabbis. that
Your
represent
imam,
different
your
sects.
chief
He's not my
rabbi.
imam. He's not my imam.
Non-Jews
He's not my rabbi.
He don't represent you.
No.
are in Israel
No.
only to serve
No.
Jews.
But do you consider this guy, he was
So what
high
he's a-
level? He was a high level there.
Yeah, he's a high-level rabbi in the Sephardi community.
Non-Jews,
From the Jews from the Middle East.
are in Israel
And actually,
only
just
to serve Jews.
scroll up. Look at what he
In the
looks
times
like.
of
Look
Israel.
at what he looks like. So where's he from?
In the times,
Where's he from? He's from Iraq. Oh, no, Iraq.
But he's the chief rabbi of
Iraq,
Israel.
Iraq.
Chief rabbi
But
of
at least he
Israel.
was a high level of rabbinate.
The chief rabbi of
You know what?
Israel.
I've got more respect for him.
I'm not, because you won't let me answer.
I've got more respect for this guy because he's saying what he feels instead of hiding and trying to deceive people.
Okay, am I allowed to respond, or are you just going to throw accusation after
No, it's okay.
accusation at the
Respond.
Jewish people? So first and foremost, some clarifications. We're now not attacking. We're not attacking individuals. We're attacking the Jewish religion. So if you're attacking the Jewish religion, first and foremost, that is anti-Semitism. Just like if I attack Islam, that's Islamophobia. But now to deal with the actual points that were raised. First and foremost, there was an accusation that there's a prayer that Jews say when they say. Did you say every morning when they thank God for not being? What did you say? So that he claimed that there's a prayer every morning. I'm going to show the camera. I'm going to show the camera the morning prayers that Jews say. There are absolutely no prayers that talk about. No, I actually thought he was going to say the actual prayer. There's a prayer that we say every morning where we say, "Thank God for not making me a non-Jew," but and it also says not making me a woman. So I'm going to explain. So I'm going to
You've got that in your prayer. Thank God for making me not a non-Jew.
So I'm going to explain.
You've got that in your prayer.
I'm going to explain.
Wow.
So I'm going to
I want to hear
explain.
the explanation.
I'm going to explain.
Wow. Thank God for making me not a non-Jew. Meaning the
So,
Gentile. Explain.
So first and foremost, unlike every
I love woman.
perfect. I'm going to respond to every one of those points. So first and foremost, I'm honest. So I will give you what the Judaism actually says, not what websites on the internet claim it
Bring
says.
it on, brother.
So the whole purpose comes down to what we started with, what it means to be chosen. Yeah? So you said that I think I'm chosen race. I don't think I'm the chosen race. Anybody can be Jewish and anybody can say that prayer. Anybody can.
Everyone can.
And anybody can convert to Judaism.
That's what
And
you're
when they
saying
do,
now.
and when they do that, that's what I've always said. I'm consistent.
Can I convert to Judaism
Yes.
and go and live in Israel?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi. Yes, okay. Carry on.
I've
Carry
got
on. Carry on.
friends in the UK who've converted and moved to Israel. Black friends as well. I've got many friends who are black who converted and then moved to Israel.
I've got black friends.
And so, no, because the whole conversation is around race. The whole conversation is around race and saying that you have to
What,
be
race
certain
isn't
colour.
important?
Not in Judaism, no. There is no
History.
So just to come back, let me finish. Let me stay on point. So the whole reason for those prayers about man and woman is not that there's anything wrong with being man and woman. We're commanded. We're told. We're Betzelem Elohim. We're completely equal to non-Jews. Jews and non-Jews Jews are completely equal.
religion don't say that.
Judaism teaches B'Tselem Elohim. We are all created in the image of God.
So what's the word goyim for?
Goyim. Do you know what the Torah calls the Jews? Goy Gadol. Goy Gadol. What does Goy Gadol mean? A great nation.
A Gentile is called a goyim.
Can you
It's
let
an
me
insult.
answer a point? Can you let me answer a point,
Let him
please?
shoot, you say. You have on bulletproof shoes?
Goyim means nation. So when Jews use the term and when the Torah uses the term, it uses interchangeably for non-Jews and Jews. So when it's talking about the Jews, it calls them a goy, a nation. When it's talking about non-Jews, it will call them a goy or a goyim. So just to come back to the actual point, he jumped in. Let me try and finish the racism. If you convert to Judaism,
Goy.
Finish. We're listening.
I don't. So anyone.
We're listening. We're listening.
Okay.
On the point of goy,
Can you muzzle him for 5 minutes so we can
on
stay
the
on
point
point?
of goy, you heard what he read.
So I'm going to show you in
Don't
Hebrew
use
in
the
the
word.
Torah.
It's a negative word for non-Jews.
That's
Goyim.
what an English dictionary says. I'm talking about Hebrew, not an English dictionary.
Okay. More games.
No.
Calm down, Yusuf. Calm down.
Okay. So to come back to the initial point, all we say when we make that prayer, either for not being a man or not being or being born a Jew or non-Jew, is that we're making a blessing that we can do the commandments that a Jew is obligated to do. A man has more than a woman, so you thank for not being a woman, and a Jew has more than a non-Jew. A non-Jew in the Jewish tradition only has 7 commandments they follow.
Can I go to heaven if I'm not
Yes,
a Jew?
Judaism is
How?
Judaism is the only religion I know of that says everybody has a place in heaven if they do righteous deeds. To become in Islam, I have to take the Shahada, or I have to be a person of the book that La ilaha illallah, and I'll say Muhammad Rasulullah. It means that you become a declaration of faith and you become a Muslim. I submit to God.
What does La ilaha illallah mean?
There is no God but God.
It doesn't mean that.
Okay, what does La ilaha illallah mean? There is no God but God.
It doesn't mean that.
Well, he's saying it does.
There is
What
no
does you
deity.
speak Arabic? What does La ilaha illallah mean?
We're speaking-
Guys, Muslims.
We're speaking English. There is no deity worthy of worship and submission to, in truth, except for the Creator.
That's not what it says. The literal translation is there is no God but God.
There's a wider meaning. Why are you trying to belittle what I'm saying?
Because you said I'm wrong.
No, but no God but God. There are other gods, but are they worthy of worship? No. So that negates. There's an affirmation and a negation.
Anyway, coming back on subject.
There's an affirmation and a negation.
In Islam,
And that's the thing that will either condemn you on the day of judgment or qualify you for an eternal home. And in their religion, it doesn't say that everybody that's non-Jew can go to heaven.
so
Why be a Jew if you can get to heaven by not being a Jew?
because there's no reason. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of Judaism. We're not religious supremacists. We believe
You're
that
not.
we believe that anyone who does righteous deeds, Jew or non-Jew, is completely equal. In the eyes of the
So
Creator.
an atheist who doesn't believe in God,
And does righteous,
according to Judaism,
So first of
can
all,
go to heaven.
So first and foremost, I want
Yes
to
or no? An
So I want to
atheist-
stipulate. I'm trying to answer.
An atheist,
I'm trying to answer.
Okay,
I
you heard the question.
Yes, I heard your question. It was pretty straightforward. So, first thing Judaism says is nobody knows the mind of God. What we do know from our tradition is anyone that acts righteously. No, we don't believe he has a mind. It's a figure of speech so that me and you can understand.
let's just clarify, yeah?
Yeah. So, in Judaism, we believe that. Sorry, I've lost my chain of thought. What was the question? Going around in circles.
You sure you want to have some Gentile water to calm you down?
Can you? What did you just ask? I've lost my chain of thought completely.
Atheists.
Yeah, an atheist, thank you. So the Talmud teaches us that anyone who does righteous deeds can go to heaven. It doesn't talk about God, doesn't talk about lack of belief. And I just want to finish my point. In Christianity, I can be a murdering paedophile and say Hail Marys and somehow I'm forgiven. In Islam, if I take the Shahada, all of my previous sins are forgiven and I can go to heaven. Judaism, let me finish. Judaism doesn't say that. Judaism says if you're a Muslim, a Jew, a Christian, and you do terrible things, there's going to be consequences. If, however, you're a non-Jew, a non-Christian, a non-Muslim, and you save orphans, widows, and you give charity, and you're a good person, then of course you're going to be rewarded. However, I don't know the mind. So it talks about Olam Haba, the world to come in Judaism. Which we call this Olam Hazeh, which is the
so
dunya.
you could deny the existence of the Creator, being an atheist, and do good deeds and still enter paradise.
So let me.
QA.
So yeah, I'm
QA,
answering.
yes or no?
So in my understanding, yes, you can still. But
Okay,
again, I don't know the mind of Allah
Not
subhanahu wa ta'ala.
not according to the Old Testament.
Let me finish. Can I?
Oh, Yusuf is a good guy.
Okay.
If you read Deuteronomy chapter 13, it's telling you the opposite.
No doubt. This video will be uploaded. I will go away and do research and come back for you,
Definitely.
based upon your words.
Yeah. And so what you'll find is something
Based
called
on your
Shem.
words.
So I'm going to respond just before. I'm going to
No, it's
preempt.
wrong, because if you
No,
read-
I'm going to preempt some of the things you're going to come back with and give my position. So you have something. Listen.
It is on Judaism.
Okay, you're giving me your opinion. He's giving me his
No.
opinion.
I didn't say that. I didn't say anything about opinions.
You just corrected me on what La ilaha illallah
I'm
means.
saying that's not my opinion.
So
That's not my
you
opinion.
said it doesn't mean there is no God but God. You are wrong.
I
It does mean that. And you're on camera saying it doesn't mean that. But to finish my point, you're going to read something about the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noah, the 7 laws of Noah. So within Orthodox Judaism, there's a belief that the other nations were given 7 laws. They are found in the Quran. So all of these 7 laws. Can I just finish? Because that's
Why
how.
don't we have this broad in humanity?
Because that's Islam. Islam believes. No, that's your religion, not mine.
No, I know.
You believe in the global.
But your religion
I
is a
don't.
religion of supremacists.
No, it's not. It's
It
the
is.
opposite. It recognizes my religion. Recognizes.
Does
for
not
you,
your
yours,
religion
and me, mine.
believe that Goyim are belief?
No, you say that, and I'm saying show me anywhere that
Okay,
it says that you're.
I'm saying to you, this is being recorded, and I will be back.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
will be back.
Show me anywhere,
listen to me.
anywhere where it
Listen
says
to me.
non-Jews are
Let me
believers.
just qualify. This is not about getting internet hits or any type of caprice for myself. For me, this is about the truth. I don't know why you're doing this, but I will go away. Listen, wait. I will go away, and you will eat your words, because
you
now
interrupt me without condescending?
you're being deceptive. You're playing games.
Okay, so just
So-
on the camera, he believes that me saying that Jews don't believe that non-Jews are beneath them is deceptive and playing games. Your words.
Yes.
So you believe that
And I will
all
be
Jews,
back.
all Jews, just for the camera,
Inshallah.
he believes all Jews that are religious believe that non-Jews are beneath
We're
them.
gonna talk-
That is hardcore anti-Semitism.
We're going to talk about it.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
anti-Semitism. What's an anti-Semite?
An anti-Semite is someone who has a dislike of the Jew.
But Arabs are Semites, you fool! Arabs are Semites! Arabs are Semites!
If you want to play
So what
word
do you
games,
mean?
if you want to play
Arabs
word games,
are
I'll say
Arab
Jew
Semites.
hater. Yes.
That's why you.
Yes.
So why are you saying anti-Semitic?
Because in common parlance,
You're playing
dictionary
games.
definition.
Listen.
I'm giving you the dictionary
You're not
definition of the
speaking
word.
with a fool here.
I
You're
am
not
speaking. I'm not.
No, you can believe I'm a fool, and maybe the camera might think I'm a fool by having discourse with you, because when one fool argues and another intellectual person tries to deal with that fool, it may seem like there's 2 fools. However, Arabs are Semites.
Yes. Mazel
So
tov.
don't tell me I'm anti-Semitic. Yes. So don't tell me that about
If
I'm
I have-
anti-Semitic.
If you
So
open
please
the
take-
dictionary, if
please-
you open the dictionary,
please
what's the
take that
definition?
back.
If you open
Please
the, no,
take back-
If
no.
you open the dictionary, we are speaking English. Words have meaning in English.
in every
They
language.
have definitions.
Are
What
Arabs-
is the definition of anti-Semitism in the English language?
Today,
What is the definition of anti-Semitism in the
Semite?
English? So we've already said someone who descends from Shem is where we began the
Okay,
conversation.
so where do Arabs come from?
Listen, I've just said
Where do Arabs come
30
from?
seconds ago I said
Clarify again
Arabs
for the
are
camera.
Semites.
So Arabs are Semites.
Arabs are Semites.
I have-
Arabs are Semitic
I know
people.
that.
Arabs
I know
are
that.
Semitic people. Are you listening to a word I'm
My point is
saying?
this.
So what?
You call me an anti-Semite.
So I'm saying
That doesn't qualify.
What's the dictionary definition of the word?
the thing is.
What is the English definition of the word anti-Semitism?
Hold on,
No,
hold on.
I'll read out the dictionary definition.
Hold on. The problem is right, and yes and no. You know why? Because today he's right what he's saying. But before, hold on,
For the
originally,
camera.
Why?
the
Because
word
they-
anti-Semitic was referring to people
Arabs
who
are
are
Semitic
not
people.
Semitic.
Yeah, Semites.
I got my glasses, bro. Can you read it?
Israelites,
Before, it used to be
Assyrian,
referring to people who are
Babylon,
Semitic.
Moab, member of any of the peoples who speak
One of
And
the
what's
groups
it
of
say
language.
here? What's the definition of anti-Semitism?
prejudice against Jews.
So in common parlance,
So what is a Semite? That's the point. I've asked you 4 times. What is a Semite?
and I've said it every single time. A Semite is someone who descends from Shem, who the Jews and Arabs are both part.
Arabic. What is that a Semitic language?
Yes.
Amharic.
Arabic.
Amharic.
Amharic, yeah.
Yes, Riza.
That's why.
Amharic.
Tigrinya.
Hold on. Amharic.
Tigrinya.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Please.
Yeah, Tigrinya.
Hebrew.
Hebrew, yes.
And all of the sub.
It's Amharic,
And
not
all
Aramaic.
of the sub dialects.
Amharic is
They're
Ethiopia.
all Semitic languages.
So
when you call me an anti-Semite, you're saying I hate all of these people.
No, I'm saying I'm using,
No.
I'm using the English
I know what
definition
you're
of the
trying
word.
to do. I know what you're trying
You're
to do.
playing games. You accuse me of playing games. You know what the English dictionary says, yes? No, you're smiling. Stop.
This is why I'm smiling. Black folk, we always get accused of using the race card. You're doing the same thing. You're trying to
You're
use
literally
the race card.
attacking all Jews.
No.
You said Jews believe, not me.
I'm talking to
Okay,
you.
I explicitly.
I'm not speaking to all Jews.
I believe I am equal to you. I don't want to pay you jizya. I don't want to be beneath you. I believe
Forget
I'm equal.
jizya. Jizya's nothing to do with it.
No. Let's
Jizya's
You have to
nothing
pay
to do
your
with
tax. You have to pay your tax.
No, but it's a separate argument. It's a separate argument. But I consider myself equal to you, yeah? I believe if you do good
But your
deeds.
religion
No,
don't say
listen,
that.
it does. And
What about-
that's why it's not
what
personal.
about
Listen.
the Hamitic myth?
Listen. You're jumping around. Let's just say on one subject.
I'm not jumping anywhere.
Let's stay on
Steerable.
anti-Semitism.
The
Intellectually, you're
Hamitic myth.
skipping around.
The Hamitic myth. Do you know of it?
Can we just before
Do you know of it?
Before we move.
Yes or no? Do you know of it?
So I assume. Okay, you tell me what it is first. I'm going to tell them what I think it is.
No, you tell me first.
No, you tell me.
I asked you if you know about the Hamitic myth. If you don't know what it is, say you don't know. Noah, the patriarch, had 3 sons.
One of them was
Ham.
And what happened to him?
And what you tell me, because you seem not to know.
So before we go on to that, because we still got to finish the anti-Semitism thing, we will come on to Ham.
Now the people that watch this, they're not stupid. They'll see that what I said was, there are many different types of Semites. You call me anti-Semitic, that means all of those people in that group of people, the Semitic people, you're implying...
You're playing game.
How?
Because you know what the word means in English.
No, I know what you people are manipulating it to me.
The name
I know what
was
you're
coined. The
manipulating.
name was coined by
I
a
know what
non-Jew to
you're
attack Jews.
manipulating
The
it to
name
me.
was coined by. The name was coined in the 19th century.
Whether
in
you use it or
Germany
not,
to
doesn't
attack
mean I'm
Jews.
anti-Semitic. Let's move on.
Okay.
Whether you say that or not,
Okay.
the people who watch this, they're not silly.
Okay, so people who watch this will also hear me saying that moving away from your semantical game.
Are there other
Can I finish a
Semitics?
point? Can I finish a point?
Are there-
Can I finish a point? Can you have the dignity to shut up and let me speak?
Dignity.
Civility.
People who watch, people ain't foolish.
Let him finish.
Aren't you acting no superior?
And then you can respond.
No, of course, leave him.
Aren't you
Leave
acting
him,
no superior?
leave him, my friend. Let him say what. Because I asked him a while ago, does he have a bulletproof shoe? Because he was shooting himself in the foot. He's done it many times. So put on bulletproof shoes.
Is this you letting me speak?
Speak. I was talking about you then, not to you.
So we started this, and I said you had a prejudice, which I used the English language words of anti-Semitism against the Jewish religion, the Jewish people. You distracted us by taking us on a tangent, saying it's not anti-Semitism because Arabs are also Semites and all these other people are also Semites, running away from the actual core point, which is you are attacking not me as an individual, but the Jewish religion and the Jewish people. If I were to stand here and attack Islam, you would rightly call me an Islamophobe or someone with a prejudice against Islam.
No.
So let me finish my
No, I
point.
wouldn't.
Let me speak.
I wouldn't. Don't tell me what I would do.
Okay, fine. Maybe you wouldn't, but many people would. If I start attacking. Okay, fine.
Let him finish, guys. Let him finish.
Tommy Robinson is called an Islamophobe because he constantly attacks and misrepresents the Islamic faith. He says things like it tells Muslims that they can kill the kuffar, where it says nowhere they can kill the kuffar. In the verses it's talking about, in each ayah, it's talking about a particular historical context, which and Islamophobes and people who don't like Islam take out of context.
that's
Let
the
me
best
finish.
thing you said today.
Well, if you listen,
That's the
you
best
might
thing
find
you
we have
said
more
today.
common. So if you listen,
Bulletproof.
so if you listen, you might find that we have more in common than you think. What I'm
No, we
saying,
should have.
what I'm saying is Judaism does not teach supremacy. Judaism does not teach anywhere. And I gave the example where
Zionism.
Zionism is a political philosophy which we can talk about later. I'm a Zionist as well, but let's stay on Judaism because we jump around like children playing hopscotch.
Okay.
So
Can I interject?
Please.
Let's, before we go any further, know what we're dealing with. Are we dealing with Zionism and the politics that's connected to it and the racial supremacy that's with that? Are we talking about Judaism?
We're talking about Judaism.
Are we talking
the
about
Talmud and the Torah?
the Hebrews? Are we talking about those scriptures that are connected? Because we need to know. Because if we don't know...
So I'll give you some definitions. And that Zionism is a modern expression of an ancient Jewish position. So Jews pray, all religious Jews pray 3 times a day to return to Israel. Most of the prayers we say were written by men. Some of them were living out... It's tangent. What we're talking about isn't a modern expression of an ancient Jewish idea that the Jews should go back to Israel. What we're talking about is the Jewish religion. The Jewish religion is built on 3 key pillars. It's built on the Torah, or the Tanakh, which is the books of Moses and the prophets. It's then built on something called the Talmud, which is divided between the Mishnah and the Gemara. This is a book which has, Jews believe, divine parts of it, but it is also the commentary of men.
What about the Babylonian Talmud?
So there's 2 Talmuds, the Babylonian Talmud and the Talmud Yerushalmi, the Jerusalem Talmud. The Babylonian Talmud is the authoritative Talmud that all Jews today follow. So you're quoting or misquoting the Babylonian Talmud. Yeah, perfect. And we can do this.
References
the Talmud
that you're going to read from your own book?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then you can give me a tafsir or an explanation of what these verses mean.
Exactly. Thank you.
You will do that for me,
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So just stay on subject, please. So if I were to say, look at Islam, look at the Quran, look at the Hadith. I'm trying to. And if I were to say, and I was to sit here ridiculing Islam, saying, I'm not even going to say things that other people will attack Islam for, because that's not my nature, that's not what I'm here to do. But people will attack Islam, and they will take your book and take it out of context.
All religions.
But if I attack your religion, and I do so from a place of which I believe is not of academic sincerity, I'm doing it when the EDL marched down the street saying Muhammad is whatever they accuse him of being, which I'm not going to say. They're not
and
doing
you know
that.
the Muslims you honour every prophet.
I know that. And they're not doing so. They're not doing so for academic reasons. They're doing so to attack the Muslim community. When people come to me in Speaker's Corner and start misquoting or taking like completely fictional lines from the Talmud which don't exist or are taken out of context, they have that same intent as the EDL. So when you can you tell me? So I will tell you ayah after ayah after ayah in the Quran that I like and admire. Can you tell me any?
One thing I'll say to you.
Anything positive?
One thing I'll say to you is this: I'm not looking at your intention. I can never know what your intention is. So likewise, I would appreciate that you didn't try to preempt me and tell me what my intention is.
But you could say the same about the EDL. I know what the intent of the EDL
I don't know what their intent is. I don't know what their intent is.
Maybe
but I can see the ramification of their behaviour.
Yes.
And you don't see the ramification of people spreading lies about the Jews?
Listen.
And our religion?
People can say things about Islam, carte blanche. And as if there's no defense. Anybody can say as soon as someone questions Judaism or the Talmud or the Mishnah or the Torah, anti-Semitic. We're only asking questions. So don't be so defensive. And I said to you, next week I'll come back with verses and quotes from your scripture.
So I want to just point out.
That's why I asked you, and before I close, that's why I asked you. So, what are we dealing with? Are we dealing with Zionism as a political entity?
No, we were dealing with the Talmud and the Torah. We were dealing with the Jewish religion.
So that's what I'm going to go and research for next week.
But I want to just make.
So we're going to leave Zionism out for now.
Yeah, we can go on to Zionism once I've got some order. But I want to. The one thing I do want to really hammer home is that the EDL don't know any positive aspects of Islam. They look at Islam and they look at Muslims, and let me finish. And all they see is negativity and hatred. They come with the same sort of accusations you're making of the Jewish people, but against Islam. Now, you may say that I don't know your intention, and you're maybe right. But when I started hearing what the EDL was saying about Islam, you know what I did? I went and I read the Quran. I read Bukhari. I read Muslim. Not all of it, but I've read the Quran, all of the Quran.
Quran.
No, I've read different hadith that are relevant relevant to me, the Jewish people, relevant to things like charity, because I wanted to see, is there good or is it just bad like the Islamophobes are saying? What I found was there was a lot of good. There were definitely hadith which I have.
All of the messengers.
Can I try
All
and
of the
finish my
messengers
point? Can I try and
were
finish my point?
inspired from the Creator.
Can I just try
So
and make
you
my
will
point?
find remnants of good within those scriptures that are connected to the Torah and the Injil.
Can I finish my point though?
However,
can I please try
however, men came after those prophets, just like with Islam.
You're jumping around. It's a new argument. Whether they corrupt or not corrupt is a different argument. Can we just try?
So
and,
is your
we're
religion
talking
still
about.
pristine?
No, I believe so. You believe it isn't. That's fine. That's fine. We belong to a different religion. That's fine. That's allowed. Your book says it's allowed. Your book says Jews that do
Was
righteous.
Moses a Jew?
We believe that Moses was a Jew.
So
Musa
Moses,
alayhi salam was a Jew.
was he from a tribe that,
There's no word in Hebrew called Jew. Jew is
That
an
was my
English
point.
word.
was
Jews
he
are
from
English.
quote unquote Judaic roots, or did he follow a set of commandments that made him the man he was?
So Jews call ourselves Bnei Yisrael.
Bnei Israel, yes,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm saying to you, what
And
was
Moses was
what
Bnei
was his
Israel.
Moses Sharia? What did he follow in terms of commandments?
He followed what we would consider the Torah, and then the laws, or some of the laws that were earlier
What was
laws
the first
in the
commandment?
Talmud.
What was the first commandment according to the Old Testament?
Before we're going on a massive tangent. I really want to try and stay focused on the
I don't think we are,
Islamophobia. No, it is, because it's a whole. We're moving into a religious debate. What I want to point out is that if I were to come here, like these guys here before, you had some patriots here before, and they were attacking Islam, and they were quoting ayah after ayah, surah after surah, which they believe made Islam a bad religion, put Islam in a bad light. I don't do that. I have a lot of respect for Muslims, I have a lot of respect for Islam. You have come here and started doing the same with quotes from the Talmud. You basically said that Jews, no, let me finish. You said that Jews believe that they're superior to Gentiles, which we don't.
I told you I'll be back. I'll be back. No, leave him. I'll be back. I'll be back.
But
This is being recorded.
You don't say like you're the,
I
you're
will
the
be
Muslim
back.
Tommy Robinson.
Are you silly?
You're doing exactly what Tommy
Are you
Robinson.
silly?
You're doing to the Jews what Tommy Robinson does to the Muslims. You're literally saying, "I'm going to come back and show you how your religion is supremacist." Does that not sound like? Does that not sound like the EDL?
Where did Tommy Robinson, and I don't even like to mention this pleb. Why? Because him and people like Anjum Chowdhury, they get notoriety from the media and people mentioning him. I ain't mentioned my name. I'm not about my own caprice. I told you that a while ago.
You're attacking
Listen.
the Jewish religion.
How?
You're saying the Jews
I
believe
told
they're
you.
supremacists.
I told you. I'm going to highlight some stuff from your religion. I will come back next week.
But do you
and
not
let
think
you
if you haven't? Do you not think if you haven't
I will
got
come
it,
back
if you
next
haven't
week,
memorized it,
I will
you
come
shouldn't
back
go
next
around
week.
attacking the
I will
Jews?
come back next week, and then you. Who's attacking Jews? I'm
You're
asking you
literally attacking the
questions.
Jewish
No, you're
religion.
saying that. I'm asking you questions about your creed, what you
You
believe.
said that I believe I'm supreme to you.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I
You're-
don't.
You're choosing
No, I
people of
don't.
God.
No,
you're-
your book says
I
that.
asked you that.
That's
Our
wrong
book
now.
doesn't
Come
say
on.
that.
Don't
In the
deny it.
Quran,
It
in the
says that
English
we were
rendition,
chosen.
God says, "O children of Israel, don't you remember that I chose you above all of humanity to send the message upon?"
Isn't that what I just said?
No, you didn't say that. You didn't say that. But I'm telling you what the Quran says.
I said that
God
your book
said
says that we
he
were chosen.
chose you.
We were chosen.
Were.
Yeah,
Key word.
that's what your book says.
Past tense.
Yeah, according to your book.
When did
yeah.
that covenant end?
So we believe, Jews believe that covenant hasn't ended. We believe that the laws of the,
Conveniently. So that makes you superior to the other
no,
people.
so what do Jews think that chosen means? What does
You
my
tell me.
religion? Is that,
You tell
thank
me
you. My religion means that we were chosen to spread monotheism, to spread the idea of one God, which definitely happened because as a consequence we have Christianity and Islam, who are the biggest propagators of monotheism. That, let me finish. That are talking about the God and my ancestors, my
Did
great grandparents.
monotheism-
We're some
Did
tiny little.
Did monotheism exist before
Judaism?
Moses?
Yes.
Did it exist before Yaqub? Hold on. Yaqub.
According to Judaism, yes.
So Ibrahim, who was the father of Ishmael,
I didn't say that Jews invented monotheism. I said spread monotheism. That's what we were chosen to do.
monotheism was in Arabia at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, all the way back to Abraham. Monotheism.
There were pagans in Arabia.
Monotheism. Hold on. Monotheism was still clear to some Arabs in Arabia at the time of the Prophet Muhammad. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So don't try and impart upon us. Don't try and impart upon us that the only monotheists were the children of Israel.
I didn't say that. You can't listen.
Allah says,
unblock your ears.
Allah
That's
says
not
in
what
the
I
Quran.
said. I said
Allah says in the same Quran that you claim you've read, He sent messengers to every nation.
So I haven't read
over 124,000. So don't try and imply that only the so-called Jews.
What did I say?
Were the only monotheists.
First and foremost, what did I just say? What did I say?
Tell me again.
I said that the Jews believe that chosen means that we were chosen to propagate, to spread monotheism, not invent monotheism, not exclusively. You guys do way better than us.
You failed.
There's only 15 million of us worldwide. But we believe that that's what chosen means. We don't mean that it means we're above anybody or supreme. So perhaps, instead of coming, can I just finish? You can go away and Google this, but can I just finish?
We'll let His scripture speak next week. I don't speak for myself. I don't speak for my whims and my desires. If I don't know, I'll tell you, I don't know. That's beyond me. When I don't know, I'll say I don't know. However, next week, if someone wants to quote the Quran, let the Quran speak. Let the Bible speak. Let the Talmud, let the Mishnah speak.
Okay, so
let those scriptures speak.
To that point, if I were to take an ayah from the Quran or a hadith that says that it's healthy to drink urine from a camel, you would probably have an explanation for why I'm misunderstanding it or I'm taking something out of
That
context.
would be scientific explanation, not your desire. Now the explanation was chosen was according to your desire.
So are you saying that camel urine is scientifically healthy for you?
Well, ask a scientist. They would. They would
No. So
you wouldn't believe me because you are ignorant.
So I'm ignorant because I don't think that camel urine is healthy for you.
Subject with the guy. What's
the point? I nearly swore then.
It's the problem now. Because he will look at other people's cultures and different
Sorry, this is a tangent. Can we not get on to whether camel urine is good for you or bad for
remedies.
you?
No,
I apologise for bringing it up. It's a massive tangent.
Just because they're not pharmaceutical remedies, like Beecham's powders and all that BS, that don't help you anyway, now he's trying to impart upon you that there might not be some type of goodness in camel urine. But the camel...
Okay, I don't believe there is, but let's move on. It's a moot point.
You don't believe there is.
And that's fine, and you're like, people believe all kinds of things, and it's a moot point. What I was trying to say, and it kind of backfired, I was trying to pick something that you would...
Bulletproof shoes?
I was trying to pick something that I thought that you would have a reason why you say, actually, no, we go by the science of today, or something like that.
If Allah said it and Muhammad said it, I accept it.
That's it.
If it's authentically proven, if Allah said it and Muhammad said it, I have no recourse.
Can I just
I have no recourse.
Can I ask a random question?
And camel
here that's
Muslim treats a kind of disease, not drinking that for no reason.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He won't appreciate that other people's cultures,
is unhealthy.
other
situations.
I genuinely thought when I raised that, in my stupidity, I thought, because there's things in the Torah where it talks about, or in the Talmud, where it talks about the
rabbis sucking young boys' penises after circumcision. Yeah, we won't talk about that though, will we?
So,
but I'm coming back next week.
Okay, we can deal with all of those points.
Yeah, we're going to deal with it.
There are medical points in the Talmud. And what Jews believe is when the rabbis of 2,000 years ago started talking about medicine, whether it's circumcision, whether it's like ailments for the common cold, when they give medical advice, we don't follow it. What we follow is the science of today.
If Allah said it and Muhammad said it, we take it.
And that's why I genuinely thought in my
if some imam says something and Muhammad didn't say it, I reject that imam.
Just do all
and his statement.
I genuinely want to learn. Are there schools within Islam that would say that drinking camel urine is unhealthy? Or is it everybody says that it's healthy?
That is such a vast, wide question.
I know, that's why I'm asking it. Just because you're saying
now,
if Allah says it.
I will say to you now, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm saying to you, if Allah said it and Muhammad qualifies it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I accept it.
And that's
because
I want to know if there
the
are
Creator is all wise. If the Creator put some cure in camel urine, The cure's there. Ain't for me to question it.
And be honest with yourself. Do some search when you go home.
So I will tell you something. I do a lot of research. I'm not about to drink any camel urine.
Just Google it.
You don't believe Prophet Muhammad. What was your initial point you were trying to make?
So the initial point with that was that
medicine, and now they end up like this.
I think it's to do with the context of the verses and how they're understood. So if someone takes a verse from the Quran and brings it to Speaker's Corner to attack the Muslims, I look at their intention. If it's coming from an academic, so there's people here who have academic debate, and we could get into an academic debate about camel urine or about anything in the Quran.
You can't use the two scriptures as a parallel. We can't. We can't use the two religions as a parallel. We can't.
Now who's been the supremacist?
What's that got to do with being inferior, subordinate, or supreme?
Or maybe I'm misunderstanding. I thought you were saying like Quran, you can't compare it to the Torah.
Did I say that?
Okay.
Don't put words into my mouth.
Then I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Please.
What do you mean by that?
Please.
What do you mean by you can't compare them then?
The Jews will return.
What you'll find is,
and they have done.
when we discuss, when I come next week, please let us not degrade into a shouting match. Because that doesn't befit debate or discussion. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Let's do this one way. Let's do it slightly out of the way. We'll have the conversation. We can have comments. Because what happens is a million people jump in with questions, and that's what takes it on the many
I hear
tangents.
that, and I appreciate that. So, like I said, this is not a battle of someone trying to raise their own rank or to belittle anyone. It's only to establish what we perceive to be the truth.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for.
So you come with all your questions. I'll have some of the answers, not all of them, but we can go to the
Likewise.
sources.
And if there's any questions that I can answer, because there'll probably be many that I can't, I'll try to refer you to someone who can answer those questions.
That's fair.
Now, the one thing I would, and this has kind of been my point, you came here, I would say, with a slightly negative image of Judaism.
I didn't even come here to see you, to be honest.
No, but we started talking and
I came here.
Talking to this guy.
I came here looking for that other guy. What's his name?
Not me.
Kalam.
Yeah, not me. That means. Yeah.
He was trying to speak badly about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Kalam, this is for you. If you ever see this, this is for you. He was trying to imply that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam married a young woman, and he was trying to imply that him marrying this young woman. I don't know what he's trying to imply. We have to ask him that when we get to him. But after doing some research, we started to talk about societal norms, what were normal in those ancient societies or the European medieval societies. Okay, so what you find is that some of the marital laws in Western Europe were only established because girls were being abused. So the minimum age for marriage and sexual content in Europe was 10 years old. In Europe, in France.
Even seven.
Yes, it's 7 as well. 7.
But I think the response to that is...
So. He was trying to say, look at Muhammad. We don't believe that hadith is authentic. We're trying to protect Muhammad. No, you're trying to raise this point, trying to cause some controversy. So he said that there was no societal norm at that time to say that women were married at that age.
So I think only a fool would say that 1500 years ago, around the world, the older men didn't marry younger. We have royals.
Tell that to Kalam.
No,
Kalam.
But what I would add to that, and this may be Kalam's point, may not be, the only difference would be that most people that descend from those communities today don't believe that the legal system that was put in place 1500 years ago is perfect and applicable today. And
no,
I think that
we don't even say that. We don't even say that.
But what is what you're saying? You're saying if Allah and for you His Messenger says something, then that's good enough for you. So if the age of consent is, and I'm not even going to get into it because there are people that say Aisha was older, there are people that say she's younger.
I don't have that problem. Because I said to you, if Allah said it and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it and did it, I'm with it. However, would it be applicable to today? Based upon the laws of today and the societal norms of today? No, it wouldn't. But we have to look at it. No.
If you go to France, since August 2018, there is no age of consent now.
No?
Yes, no, finish. The judge will decide if there were a consent between the two parties.
Well, that was my point.
Including adults.
Applicable.
Yes.
That was my point, because if you practice that today, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. That was my point. Not that I don't agree with it, but is it applicable to today's norms? No, it's not.
Just one quick
So
point.
when we're talking, sorry, Joseph, when we're talking about those ancient societies, you can't use today's models to judge what was going on in those days. And if he's going to attack the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, King Frederick, okay, and other European monarchs who married girls at those ages. So now he just, for some reason, kept beating the Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam
You
drum.
said something that made no sense to me.
Some European kings in medieval ages, married to even seven years old. Yeah.
I ain't got my glasses.
They don't mention it.
I ain't got my glasses, but I downloaded this information from a research fellow.
Guys, can you get over
from
afterwards? I want to ask a question.
Sydney University.
Okay, so I have a question which is really relevant.
You said need glasses, bro. Maybe you can read this for me, because I need glasses.
Can I ask one quick question and then you can get back? You were talking about societal norms, and all Muslims that I speak to, the overwhelming majority of Muslims I speak to, say that they don't care for the relative morality of Western society. They care about what you said.
What's relative morality? Homosexuality?
So, yeah,
in Western society?
So this is what I'm trying to say. You said that today, it would be wrong to marry a child because of today's societal norms.
He said not applicable, not wrong.
Not applicable. So what do you mean by that? That's what I'm trying to understand. What do you mean by not applicable?
When does a woman become a woman?
So different societies will give different. Some will say puberty, some will say 18, some will say 16.
Okay.
Depends on the society.
My friend. If you
the example of France.
My friend. Can you step in front of the camera, please? I don't want to put you on the spot, but no, can you read English? Oh, come on.
I'll read it for you. I'll read it for you.
Well, you want to read it? I don't have my glasses.
Age of consent. The age of consent is the age below which a minor is considered to be legally incompetent to consent to sexual acts. Do you want me to go on?
Yeah, go on.
Consequently, an adult who engages in sexual activity with a minor, activity with a minor younger than the age of consent cannot claim that the sexual activity was consensual, and such sexual activity may be considered statutory rape.
Carry on.
The person below the minimum age is regarded as the victim, and his or her sex partner is regarded as the offender.
Now we'll pause there. Did Aisha ever say she was any victim of any behaviour? Continue.
No, that's not what it says.
No, carry on.
Okay, I'm just going to reread that so they can hear. The person below the minimum age is regarded by the law, not the individuals involved, regarded by the law as the victim,
as you read on, you will hear.
And his or her sex partner is regarded as the offender, unless both are underage. The purpose of setting an age of consent is to protect an underage person from sexual advances.
Yeah, carry on.
Right, so that's a lot of reading. I thought I was just going to read a paragraph. The term age of consent rarely appears in legal statutes. Generally, a law will instead establish the age below which it is illegal to engage in sexual activity with that person. It has sometimes been used with other meanings, such as the age at which a person becomes competent to consent to marriage. But the meaning given above is now the one generally understood. It should not be confused with other laws regarding age minimums, including but not limited to the age of majority, the age of criminal responsibility, voting age, drinking age, and driving age. Still
Continue.
It's a lot of reading. Well, okay, can you just summarise? I mean, because it's very boring for everyone watching. Wikipedia definition, which also isn't. What were you trying to say with that?
From a research fellow. This guy's just destroying my train of thought. It's from a research fellow who's not a Muslim, called Stephen Robinson, not Tommy Robinson, Stephen Robinson, from the University of Sydney. And he speaks about the ages where marriage was permitted in medieval Europe. And from country to country, it varies slightly. But 7-year-olds were allowed to be bequeathed, male and female. And people were allowed to be married at the ages of 9, 10, because at that time it was a societal norm. Kalam was saying there was no societal norm like that.
Okay, so
but all over the ancient world, this was taking place.
So absolutely. And
so why he was trying to attack the Prophet Muhammad is that was my question.
If Kalam said that he's wrong, I wasn't involved in that conversation. But what I was trying to say is the societal norms have changed today.
No
We'd
doubt.
all agree with that.
No doubt.
But the question would be, if Muhammad is a perfect example for mankind, for humanity, and he married, let's go with the Islamophobes, and she was 6 years old or 3 years old, whatever age you want to say, let's say she was the youngest age, and that is actually what Islam taught, then surely that would be a perfect example for all of humanity today as well, irrespective of what the societal norms in today's society.
My point to Kalam was this. He's from Nigeria. I said before Nigeria accepted these secular laws from the West, how would you determine when a lady was ready for marriage? How would you determine?
But that's fine.
In Africa, this is for him. How would you determine? He said, and you can go back to the video, when a woman could take care of her own personal hygiene. That's not the answer.
For me, that's a terrible answer. But what I would say is society.
When a woman.
The thing is, if you know Mary, the Virgin Mary, yeah. According to the Catholic Encyclopedia, she married with Joseph, and he was age of 80. So if the case, you have to be consistent with Mary and Joseph.
With the criticism.
Mary was, according to your traditions, Jewish women used to be married at the age of 12, and Jewish boys used to be married at the age of 13.
That's not true. That's when they become legally obligated for the law. But
At
there
that
was
time,
child
yes,
marriage.
according to your historians, yes, it was the case.
You're
But
conflating
now-
2 points, but there was child marriage, but they're two separate things.
But the thing is, now, according to the Catholic Encyclopedia, Joseph was 80. And that time was tolerated. It was acceptable.
But you're missing my point. My point isn't that
No,
people
our
historically
point- our
No,
point-
I'm agreeing with that point. It's black and white. It's plain as day. That
Subjective
thousands,
as well.
hundreds of years ago,
Exactly.
thousands of years.
Exactly.
But this is
Cultural norm.
This is exactly.
That's my
This
point.
is what I'm trying to unwrap. So please try and say, like, I genuinely want to understand your answer. If Islam or if Muhammad is the perfect example, because what if I was Callum and you said that to me, I would say, well, yeah, maybe in Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, wherever, people did marry much younger, but society has advanced and progressed since then.
What do you mean advanced?
So the morality.
So marry. Hold on. So marry. Hold on.
Can I just
Marrying at that age is immoral. Is that what you're saying?
So can I find?
Is that what you're saying?
I believe that
Is
marrying a child is immoral.
A
yeah.
child?
Yeah. Or at the age of 12 years
What
old.
makes a woman a woman?
So let's say 13 years
Rebecca
old.
was wrong.
So
According to your exegesis, Jewish exegesis, Rebecca, she was married between 3 and 10.
no,
So he's wrong.
There's ages given right the way up to adulthood. It's similar to Aisha. And it comes from Midrashim, not from the Torah. So the Torah is like the Quran, it's definitive.
When does a
Then
woman-
it's-
when
can I
does
just
a woman
make
become
Yeah,
a
but
woman?
Aisha at 9 is not from the Quran, it's not from the Hadith, it's the same thing.
so this-
So you have to be
No,
consistent.
but it's also not from the Talmud. It's from the Midrashim.
It's the same thing.
No, the Talmud and Midrashim are different.
So what is a midrash?
A Midrash is almost like a story, a collected memory, which isn't authority. We don't take them literally. Yeah, no, it's.
When does
the
my
Talmud
point
is
this.
more like the Hadith.
When
or
does
the
a woman,
Mishnah.
forget
Okay.
the age we're living in and the time we're living in, when does a woman become a woman?
But this is
When she goes through puberty in terms of her menstruation.
So can I
Now, hold on. You can have a mature young woman and you can have an immature young woman. Okay?
Yes.
Now, a mature young woman may be ready for marriage. An immature young woman, even though she may have had the haid, the menstruation, she might be still immature and not ready for marriage. Now, you didn't want to read on, but in the exegesis of this researcher, he said, the societies of old, the parents would decide whether the girl or the boy would be ready for marriage. The parents would decide.
We're complete, absolutely. Families would marry for honour. Families would marry for practical reasons. I'm not questioning. You're missing my point. You're missing my.
People were married for political
I agree with all.
allegiances.
We all agree. Can I just? My point is so simple, and I'm really. It's to do. So you asked before, is society progressing or not progressing? I believe that today people have more freedoms and rights than they did 2,000 years ago. Things like slavery is frowned upon.
Really.
Yes, it's illegal in almost every country in the world. Even in Mauritania, which has more slaves than anywhere else, it's still illegal. So slavery is largely frowned upon by modern man compared to 1,500 years ago.
It depends what type of slavery you're talking about. Continue.
And so,
because you have economic slavery.
I believe that society, that we have more freedoms and more rights today than our ancestors do, and we should celebrate those freedoms.
So we're saying democracy has given us more rights than the monotheistic codes.
So I believe that democracy
is man-made.
Yeah, man-made, absolutely.
And it's better than the monotheistic codes.
So I believe that today,
because for us that's kufr. You know that.
That's fine.
To say that democracy is better than revelation.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Are you saying that in an ideal Islamic state, if a 9-year-old was mature enough, there's no issue marrying her because?
But when did she become a woman?
So he's saying no issue.
Exactly. When did she become a woman?
There's no issue to respond to the point you're making. Yeah. The Prophet also married older women too, so we can't.
We know that.
Yeah.
But it's more, is it okay to marry young girls?
We're saying that it's not applicable now. He's not saying it's not moral.
It's only not applicable because we're not in a Muslim society.
Correct.
No, okay, if she's mature, that's the problem.
I'm asking as an individual.
When does a woman become a woman, and how do we?
So within the UK, I think it's 16 years old.
How do we differentiate?
Listen. But the thing is, it's subjective because you go to France now. There is no age of consent.
But that's not to do with when she becomes a woman. He's asking when does someone become a woman.
But the thing is this age of 16,
medically,
like he said,
medically and biologically, when is a woman a woman?
To be
not
honest,
whether she's mature or not. When is a woman a woman?
I'm going to say, truthfully, I'm being absolute. It scares me a little bit that we have grown men with full beards debating whether it's okay to marry.
What do you think is the answer?
When does a woman become? For me, when a woman becomes a woman, is
it a number?
For me, it's a number because you have to deal on a societal level to protect the masses. So you can't.
We spoke about societal norms. The societal norms of those days were different to the societal norms of today. That's what I've been imparting upon you. But it still doesn't change the sunnah of God. God created the female. God created the female, and He's created when the female starts her menstruation.
So I know 9-year-old girls that started their menstruation.
So do I.
So for you, then,
does it mean that every 9-year-old girl is ready for marriage?
But you just said that's the sign of womanhood.
I didn't say that.
Okay, so I
didn't say that.
Okay, that's what
I said about 10 minutes ago. It's subjective to each female. Now, which one of us saw Aisha?
Which one of us?
Which one of us saw Aisha?
I've never saw her.
Okay. Now, when I was a young guy at school, there were girls that had the body of woman when we was in primary school. Straight. You understand?
But
now, I don't know if they were on their head menstruating or not, but men could get fooled by this. If she said she was 16, a man could get tricked. And a man could go to jail. Listen to me. Let me finish. So what do we use as a measure? It's halal, man. It's halal. It's sealed, man. It's sealed. No goyim lips have been on there. And we're sure about it. Don't worry. So what age would determine, or what would determine whether a woman's ready? Her age, her appearance, her maturity?
I hear you.
That's my point.
And I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain why the age of consent is so much
girl that's 9 years old that you can marry.
I'm going to explain.
That's my point.
I'm going to explain why the age of consent is so essential to protect children. And I'll explain
From who?
From adults.
So let me make my point. Now listen to everything you said. Now please listen to me. If you have a 9-year-old girl and you have a group of men with beards in Europe, well, let's go even better. Let's say in Arabia. You're in Arabia, and there's a family who say our 9-year-old girl, and they're an impoverished family. They haven't got much money, and they say our 9-year-old girl is old enough and mature enough to get married, so that we can get the dowry.
No, they're selling her.
Listen.
They are selling her.
Listen, please. I listen to you. The age of consent protects the vulnerable. It protects her from bad parents, from praying men, from rogue imams, from rogue courts, from rogue rabbis, rogue anyone. The age of consent protects children from them. By saying 16, you may have a 16-year-old who is immature, both physically and mentally. But what you won't have what you don't have is a 9-year-old child who is abused. Because those that was protect supposed to. Can you let me finish? I listen to you.
We're talking about Aisha.
We're not talking about Aisha. We're not.
I am.
Okay, I'm not. So listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying.
He's not talking about Aisha. Okay.
What I'm saying is, if the age of consent is taken from Aisha, and let's say she's 9 years old, which was one of the ages that's given, and we say that if a girl is physically and mentally mature at 9 years old, what that creates is a very unsafe environment for children, and I'll explain why. Because you rely on those in any time, because you rely on the adults.
In any time?
You rely on the adults being decent and upstanding and not being abusive. And I don't trust adults. There are adults that are desperate for money. There are adults that are abusive. There are adults that prey on children. And if you have a legal bar which someone subjectively says whether someone is ready or not ready, then it creates an environment where children can be abused.
So you were talking about the legal age, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I mention in Saudi, for instance, the legal age of consent is 9. Would you be against it?
Would I be against it personally? Yes.
This is objective because this is approved by the law. In Arabia is 9. In Nigeria is 11.
And I'm against that.
In Scandinavia is 20.
In South Korea is 13. Would you be against?
I'm against all of that.
This is subjective, my friend.
No. Slavery was legal. I would hope I'd be against slavery.
When a law is approved by a state, why you be against it when it's been approved? Why has it been approved? Like in France now, since August 2018, there is no more age of consent.
But France has many laws that I'm against. France bans religious.
My friend, this is the problem.
You have to be consistent because when you're talking about the legal age and it's been approved by a consensual statement by the whole majority of the population, a majority of deputies and parliamentaries, you have to accept it.
I don't have to accept that it's okay to marry a 9-year-old.
He said a few things. He said, if I pick up on what he said if someone was 16 and immature, that would be different from someone being 9 and mature.
Because she's still 16 years old.
Yeah, but she's immature and she's not cognizant of what's going on.
No, she's not. I'm not talking to someone who has disabilities.
No, we're not talking about disabilities. We're talking about maturity.
Accept to be married. That's what he's talking about.
But you have to draw a
stake. So now. These laws and these numbers, they're secular. They're very secular. Those societies before...
If I'm losing this debate, it's desperate because they're arguing to marry 9-year-olds and I'm arguing against it.
Those societies and those laws were not for secular societies. Okay? They were theocracies. The person that done this research, and I beg you, go and I'll give you the website and you go and have a look. He was explaining why these laws were brought about. Now, I've never read anything about Africa, because the Europeans, they have a quaint way of justifying their treatment of my ancestors. Now, when you see Africans on slave ships and being enslaved, why are they always naked? Why are they naked? Because their clothes were taken away. Mansa Musa, you know who that is? He was the king of Mali.
Was an emperor, yeah?
This man was extremely rich. He was one of the richest men that ever lived. This brother was running around naked in Africa? Running around naked on the Serengeti? I don't think so.
But you've changed subjects a little bit. We're talking about the age of consent.
No, we're not changing the subject.
Okay,
Let me finish.
They might understand what we're talking about. It looks like
these Africans
like Los Angeles
had civilizations. That's if you're interested, because I've seen you looking around like you're not interested.
No, I'm listening.
These Africans had civilizations.
Absolutely.
Okay?
The Nubians.
They had wealth.
Yeah.
They had writing systems.
Yeah.
Maybe unbeknown to you as a Jew, in inverted commas, there were Hebrews in the ancient Ghanaian Empire that wrote Hebrew and kept all the rituals. Okay? Pre-European invasion.
That's one thing I wasn't aware of. So that's quite interesting.
Pre-European invasion. Now, the writers that came to Africa, they didn't say we found homosexuals in Africa. We didn't say anything about child abuse, because trust me, to belittle the Africans, brother, they would have said that. If they found that, they would have said that. But they invented lies against us to justify the evil that they did to us. So bringing it back to the age of consent.
Thank you.
You don't think that those African tribes had a cultural norm for when a girl got married? Don't try and fool the people, my friend. Don't try and fool the people. Where's it going? We said, pre-secularism and pre-secular laws, everything was subject to the societal norms of those people. So don't use the societal norms of today to try and denigrate other people and other cultures.
I think you're missing my point.
That's all I'm saying.
My point was really...
No, I know your point. I heard your point.
What was my point?
Your point was saying that it's not permitted, or it wouldn't be moral for someone to marry a 9-year-old. No, today it wouldn't look good.
That's fine.
Today it wouldn't look good.
That's not what we got into. What we got onto, and that's what I'm trying to...
And today if you did it, you would go to jail.
Islam for you...
So don't do it and don't go to jail.
The Quran and the Hadith are the definition of moral and immoral for a Muslim. Moral meaning right, immoral meaning wrong. If something...
Was it immoral at that time?
Can I just finish a point? I listen to you, can you listen to me? So if something is instituted, or a behaviour of Muhammad, which is Sunnah, which is brought down in the Hadith or the Quran, then that is a perfect example for humanity. Forget your societal norms, forget your age or the generation you're living in. It should transcend.
Why you want to forget the context?
Because it should transcend.
Not all things.
So you're saying that the things that Muhammad did that aren't applicable...
It was specific to that particular lady at that specific time. Every lady will not be as mature as Aisha was at that time. That's what we're saying. It's subject to each individual situation.
What does it say about her maturity so that you can make a judgment as a devout Muslim? Quick question. What does it say about her
Let's
maturity?
look at the person who people are claiming was being abused. Did she say she was abused?
No, she didn't.
Her father, who was the closest companion to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who gave Aisha her hand in marriage, and this was the European norm at the time, that if the parents consented, it went ahead.
But
now the parents, they gonna know if their daughter is ready or not.
Can I just make a point?
It's not like he sold his daughter either. Listen.
Where would it have been recorded though? Truthfully, I mean, this is me. I don't want to get into an attacking Islam thing, but the only record we have of this is Islam, and Islam isn't about to start bad mouthing its own prophets and its own the Sahaba. That's not what Islam's going to do. It would get censored out. And who would record that Aisha wasn't happy that she got married? But it would be.
There would be.
We've met before, haven't we? You're the Palestinian. I'm fine.
Somewhat.
Oh, this hurts, baby. It hurts. You shake his hand and not mine.
Well, it's free, man. It's free not to shake.
Let's not take it somewhere else.
Anyway, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she's the one who said she was mature. And she was one of the greatest scholars in Muslim history of all time. She lived for, 40 years or 50 years after his death?
And now that you've made that point about age, people died a lot earlier in those days. That's another point.
But historically, there was no embarrassment whatsoever against the marriage.
All of those people, they said Muhammad was a magician. He was a soothsayer. He was Majnun, he was mad. They never accused him of that gross impropriety that people today try to use against him.
So can I just have a real simple question? You guys believe that it's safer, it's a safer society for the children if instead of having an age of consent, you subjectively judge on each child.
Now look, what is paedophilia? What is it now? Let's deal with that now.
An attraction to children.
It doesn't mean that.
Okay, what does it mean?
It doesn't mean that. It doesn't even mean that. Pedo, child. Okay? Someone beneath the age of consent. Okay? What's a file? Like an Anglophile, someone who loves everything English. A Francophile, someone who loves everything French. A pedophile, a lover of children. If you love children, you wouldn't abuse them. You wouldn't abuse them. So pedophile, that's not the right compound noun to use to describe.
You brought that word up, I didn't mention that. I just said abusing children.
Pedophile is not the word that I would use.
Doesn't mean so.
To
describe
every argument we get stuck on semantics. Can we just deal with logic? Because logic's better than semantics. And the logical question.
What I would say is this.
Answer the question.
And I've said it already. Different societies, different cultures, different times have different norms. If it was abnormal at that time, Muhammad's enemies, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they would have used this to denigrate him and try to destroy his mission.
You've missed my question.
So, in terms of using that type of inclination, trying to imply that the Prophet sallallahu no, we don't have that.
Like my question was that
we don't have that.
Forget Muhammad, like not in a disrespectful way. Forget Islam. Let's just deal with logic.
Today's something different.
This is one
because pedophilia. If we were doing it in Africa, it would have been picked up on to make us those monkeys that were swinging from trees.
You're jumping around. Like, I just want to ask a logical question.
If we were doing those things, sodomy, pedophilia, the European writers would have written it.
Forget
those
Africa.
Africans.
We're not talking about Africans. You can't bring it back to
Africa. I'm talking
Africa.
about different societies and societal norms.
You're not dealing with my question.
What's your question?
Thank you. My question's really simple. It's which do you think offers more protection to vulnerable children having an age
Depends on the societies. Depends on the societies.
Okay, so can you explain? I'll explain my logic and then you explain why it's flawed. So by my logic, if you have an age which is 16, 18 in the older remit, where collectively it's highly improbable somebody isn't going to be physically and mentally mature enough to consent. There may be exceptions, but as a collective, as a whole, you set that law at that level, which you can argue is maybe a little bit subjective. But I would argue if you say that you base it on the individual, that child is so vulnerable to adults with ill intentions.
When is a woman a child and when is she an adult?
So again, this is the age of consent. You're saying it's that subjective.
No.
I don't think you're keeping up with the debate.
I'm asking you, when is a lady a child and when does she become an adult?
So I'm saying the age of consent. So in the UK, it's 16 or 18.
Okay, look.
You've got the age of voting, you've got the age of consent, you've got the age of...
I know someone personally who didn't start her menstruation until she was 19.
And that's fine, but she was probably intellectually ready to make the decision of
whether she get married when she's not menstruating. What's the point? Her body's not ready.
There are women that never menstruate in their entire life. Women aren't just baby-making machines for you. Women, because you're saying if she's not menstruating, you can't marry her.
Hold on, why? Listen, no, I didn't say that.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
Calm down. You misunderstand a lot of stuff.
Maybe. The camera will be the judge of that.
I don't know if you do it purposely or not. Rewind. Click, stop. Press play again.
19-year-old woman.
Listen, if there's a 19-year-old woman who hasn't started her menstruation, what is the point of her being married? And we're not talking about baby-making machines. We're not, you said that. So if a woman's 19 and she's not menstruated, why would she get married?
Because she's in love with a person and wants to spend the rest of her life with them?
What? That means she's still pubescent at
She's
19.
19 years old. She's mentally.
You're talking about a number. We're not talking about. We're talking about biologically. We're talking about biologically capable to embark upon a marital relationship.
What is a marital relationship?
Are you married?
Yeah.
Why are you asking me such a stupid question?
Because you said it's not about them being baby making machines, and so I want to know what you
No,
mean.
listen. When you get married, and
he's mentioning that marriage is about compatible people, not about their biological readiness.
Anyway, listen. We're talking about.
He's talking about marriage being a compatible union.
We're not talking
You're
about
talking
that.
about pubescent.
We're not talking about that.
You call her a woman. She's 19 and you call her a woman.
Who
So
said
you
she's
asked
a
the
woman?
question. You said
Who
that.
said she's a
Just
woman?
like you said, a 19-year-old
19
woman, how
Okay,
can she get
okay.
married? What is she going to do in the marriage?
A 19-year-old female. Okay.
Okay. That's what you said earlier.
Hadn't started
You called
her
her a woman.
menstruation.
You
A
called her a
19-year-old
woman.
female. Is she a woman or not? According to her biological clock and scripture.
So, ignoring
He's trying not to
No,
use
you can't
scripture.
ignore
We're trying
scripture.
not- We're just using intellect, not
You can't
scripture.
ignore scripture. Well, for
No.
me, I can't ignore scripture.
The dynamic here is
We're
not
trying to deal
scripture.
with
Because
we're
scripture
trying to
can
deal
take
with
it down
rational
path.
arguments.
I can
Yeah,
argue
but
my
listen,
scripture. you
not
argue your
everything in
scripture.
religion
It's
is
just
rational.
personal intellect.
Not everything in religion is rational. You know that.
What we're talking about is the protection of children from predatory
And
adults.
I'm saying to you,
right.
in
Yes,
other
yes.
societies, this predation that you're talking about
Doesn't exist. It only exists in the West.
I'm saying to you, in those cultures, nothing was written about Aisha or anybody else being abused. In West Africa, I said to you, this is why I made this point about Africa. If that was going on, the European scribes, to make us look even worse than what they was,
So
than they did, they would have written this down.
let me give you
They
an
would have
example.
written this
Let me
down.
give you an example
That was
from
my
Yemen.
point.
Let me give you an example from Yemen. In Yemen, Jewish
Yemen
children
today?
would be married to Jewish. No, this is about 50, 60, 70 years ago before they were moved to
We're
Israel.
talking 1400 years ago.
I'm just trying to make a point. So, children were married at 12, 13, 14 years old to each other.
12.
Because if they were kidnapped by local Muslims and forced to convert
Local
to Islam.
Muslims?
Yeah, and forced to convert to Islam, and they were kidnapped from their families. So there is an example of vulnerable children being kidnapped not by Muslims like you. I'm just talking under the Islamic rulership of Ibn Yahya, who would have been in charge of Yemen then. If a Jewish girl was taken by a Muslim man, the girl had to convert to Islam and marry the boy.
Okay, look, you're going to use that example. I could fire back now. You understand? I'm not blaming Judaism for this. I'm not blaming the scriptures for
I'm
this.
not blaming Islam.
Hold on. But I'll fire back. If you go to the Middle East, the Emirates and other countries, you find a lot of women there from Odessa and other places that were promised work in these countries. When they get there, they're sold into sex slavery. Ain't Muslims doing that? Who doing it? Who doing it? I'll bring my proof next week.
You think it's
if
Jews?
I say anything,
There's no Jews in the Middle East who
if
would
I
chase
say
out.
anything, if I say anything, anti-Semitic. You know what a crypto Jew is? A crypto Jew. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Okay. Like Jakub Stravinsky. Who's that? Jack Straw. So why don't you use his name?
Straw.
Jack Straw, Jakub Stravinsky. Crypto Jew. So why don't you use his Jewish name? Because he don't want you to know he's a Jew. Otherwise, he would use his
How
proper
did
name.
you find out he was a Jew?
Go and ask Jack Straw what his name is. In fact, Google it.
No, I'm
Google
asking,
it.
if he doesn't want
Google
people
it.
to
Since
know,
you like
how did
Google
you
so
find
much,
out?
since you like, let me calm my Caribbean stuff down. Since you like Google so much, Google Jack Straw's real name.
So you think Jack Straw is a crypto Jew who hides his Judaism for what reason?
So why is he not using his correct name?
So I'm just seeing who his parents are, because I don't know.
We want to end the temporary occupation.
So when we're trying to
we can't end the occupation.
make Muslims look bad, or the actions of some Muslims.
He's 1/8 Jewish. He's not even Jewish. He's of Jewish descent.
1/8, you know. 1/8. 1/8.
Straw
He's
himself
still a
is
Jew.
he's a Christian.
He's a Jew.
His name.
Yeah,
What did
but
you say
listen,
his name
Jakub
was?
Stravinsky.
It's not. It's Jack Straw. Anyone can Google this.
Next week.
Yeah.
Next week.
But anyway, that's a massive
In fact,
tangent.
show me that.
Money from around the world.
I know you guys are read things and don't read what you see. So let me just make sure. I'll be back next week, Joseph.
Straw is 1/8 Jewish descent. His maternal grandmother's mother came from Eastern
So,
European Jewish family.
so did
Straw,
he benefit? Listen,
Hang on. Is it his father or his mother? Who's Jewish?
maternal grandfather's mother.
what's a
So
Holocaust
his
survivor?
grandfather is a male, so he's not Jewish. A Holocaust.
Aye! His grandfather's a male, so he's not Jewish.
So if you have a Jewish
thought
father and not a
anybody
Jewish
could be
mother, you have to convert. You can't just, you either convert, just like to become Muslim, you take the Shahada.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
You just
I'm glad this is being recorded.
Okay, so again for the camera, you can convert to Judaism, and if you're born of a Jewish mother, you're automatically Jewish. If you're not born of a Jewish mother and you have a Jewish father and not a Jewish mother, you can convert to become
For
Jewish.
Muslims, we take our father's name.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily take our father's religion because you can grow up like Akhlafuddin. You don't have to be a Muslim when you grow up. There's no force. You choose. So how is it that your mother has to be a Jew? Because we take our seed from our father.
And we take from our mother.
And you take from your mother.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Why is that? It's because in times of war, one of the reasons given.
So a Jewish man could do his thing.
No,
and the baby ain't going to be a Jew.
Why don't you listen? Can I just respond to the question that was directed at me, and then you can say what you want to say? In times of war, if the woman was raped, you wouldn't know if the child. If a woman was raped or whatever, you know that the child definitely came from the woman. Yeah. There's no doubt on whether a mum is or isn't Jewish. Yeah.
Oh right. Okay.
Is that why
she gives birth?
She gives birth. There's no doubt.
Is that
with
why?
the father, there could be a question.
I told you, Joseph. I'll be back next week, you know.
Okay, it's great you'll be back next week with a lot of questions. But in Judaism, it comes by the mother. Jack Straw, just for the record, is not Jewish. His grandfather was Jewish, or his great-grandfather, I can't remember which. So his name definitely isn't Jakub Strawinski or whatever. It's not. That's made up.
We'll see next week.
We will see next week.
We'll see.
Exactly like Jewish in Palestine, in occupied Palestine. Most of them, their fathers, their grandfather were Jewish. And yet don't claim that you are Semitic. You know, since you're
literally,
Jew, because no,
that's the beginning of the argument. You missed it. We've done that already. We've done that already.
Let me make it clear. Since you're Jew, because your mother is Jew, don't claim that you are descent to Abraham or Jacob.
So
you're Ashkenaz, nothing to do with
Semitism. If I show you my DNA results,
true Semitism. Let's do DNA.
I've done my DNA.
No, let's do it.
I've done it already.
Joseph.
My haplotype is A1B1B.
The Jews, the most idiot liars in the world.
Brother, please, don't insult
Which
him.
is
Don't
true.
Don't insult
No,
him.
that's true. The Jewish are the most liars ever in the world in history.
That don't represent me.
No, I don't represent you. I represent myself. Come on, man. I'm talking about myself. The Jewish are the most idiot liars in the world in history.
Disregard.
Well, come on, it's true. Don't hide it. Don't hide it.
It's not about insulting each other.
Who makes up, who fakes up, the history?
Okay, it's about finding Ahmed. It's about finding Haq.
Yes, healthy discourse.
Yeah.
Healthy discussion. I'm not going to insult you. I'm not going to do that.
Thank you.
Because I've been subjected to that same type of racist degradation as a black man. And the reason why black people are socially at the bottom, even though we don't see ourselves like that, racism, if we're racist as black people, it don't affect nobody. We can't be institutionally racist. We don't own any banks. We don't own the education system. So even if we are racist, who's it going to affect? Nobody. But when we use reverse racism, what did the Europeans use to justify them raping the people of colour?
You know the difference.
According to him, no. According to him, maybe. If I black up a little bit, maybe. But that was the beginning of the conversation. I was too white.
Ask him who were the original Hebrews.
Okay, so this is a great. Is the only people.
Were they black?
No, they weren't black. So
No,
where we
he said they weren't
started.
black.
Right.
No.
So the likelihood is they look more like people from the Middle
Sorry,
East.
darker skin.
Darker skin.
That's the true
Right,
Jew.
okay.
Not as Muhammad.
Yeah.
Authentic hadith, he said, I dreamt of my brother Moses. And when I saw him in a dream, he looked like the people of Bani Shoba. Aswad Shadidan, extremely black.
Say again,
And
he looks like what?
Bani Shoba. an Arab tribe.
Ashkenaz, not sure.
And he was a,
Ashkenaz.
maybe I pronounced it wrong. Yeah.
Dark skin.
So this is what we're talking about. This guy's Palestinian.
When I
He was
spoke-
saying about Palestinian black, original Palestinians.
Tell
were
him they're black Palestinians.
Because you're Palestinian, yeah?
We're not talking about Flasha. We're not talking about Flasha.
Tell him they're black Palestinians.
They are black. Dark skin, yeah. I have
Tell
some
him
black
they're
cousins.
from the
Well,
longest
you know the
side.
Crusades. And that, you know what I'm saying? The Crusades and that raped the Jews and Muslims, and so we ended up looking different. You know what I'm saying?
Now,
So-
ancient Egypt.
You
Let me interject, Joseph.
I just want to ask my Palestinian brother.
He's not your brother.
Ancient Egypt. What you'll find is the Greeks came into Egypt. You don't think they interacted with the people when they came? The Romans came. You don't think
Black Bedouin in Jordan, yeah?
I know there's some.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, brother. We know innit? But when people have tunnel vision,
Very Jewish names as
What year is
well.
that? 19 what?
the real one.
1918.
No, we know there are some Palestinian Africans.
Some.
Exactly.
There's many.
Black skin, we know that.
Now, before you started speaking and said where you look like a mixed race, bro.
Everyone in America thinks something.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks something about it.
But listen, we don't have Muslims who understand. We don't have a problem with race and creed.
But you're the ones that brought it up. We don't bring it up. Everyone's asking
No,
who's the real
amongst
Jews.
us and religion.
But it's the same with Jews.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely an Ethiopian
coming
is
back,
Jews
Joseph.
as Jewish as me.
I'm coming back.
Yeah, I guarantee you there are no Jews alive today. That's a lie. You get racist Jews, but according to the Jewish
get
tradition
racist
and religion,
everybody.
yeah. But according
I'm
to the
not
Jewish
racist,
religion,
I'm selective.
okay, you get Jews today, whether they come from Ethiopia, whether they come from Jordan, whether they come from Syria, Poland, Germany, we all recognise each other as Jewish.
Man, people are racist from all different tribes on earth. Now, there's mankind and the human race. If you recognize that, you can't be a racist. If a person will submit to the fact that the Creator created two souls and from them all of humanity, how are you going to be racist? How? And what benefit is there in being racist?
So I would argue many of the early Muslims were racist. They were Arab supremacists. They discriminated against.
That's completely wrong. I can prove
Let
it
me
in
get him
history.
now. Let me get him now. When did Arabism begin?
Arabism.
Yes.
What do you mean by Arabism?
You have just
Arab nationalism. When did it start?
Arab nationalism is a relatively modern phenomenon.
Okay, so you said about Arabs having supremacy.
No. I'm talking like literally going back. So, for instance, the spread of Islam.
Yeah.
So
there were Arabs from the Quraysh tribe that were black people.
I'll give you I'll give you a modern example.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I heard that.
Okay.
I'll give you a modern example.
When there were black Africans being oppressed in Arabia, were they being oppressed because of...
I tell you...
Let me finish.
I'm just going to actually bow out of this.
Were they being oppressed because they were black or because they were non-Arab or because they were foreigners?
I'm going to bow...
Because again, Salman al-Farsi, he was a Persian. He wasn't black, but he was a slave.
So what I was going to say is I will bow out of this because I've read this, but I don't have the sources to hand. I'll come back next week. Like you'll come back next week, and I'll bring my sources.
Were slave at that time.
Tribe,
not so high, but others. Tribe, not Roman, but others. Yeah, there are many others.
I'll give you a modern example, which I do know. A modern example I do know, which I know your response before you even say it, is in Saudi Arabia today. If you find out that your wife is of African descent, and you didn't know that when you married her, that's grounds to divorce her. And that's a racist law that's in place in Saudi Arabia today.
What about nowadays?
Yeah.
That's something completely different.
Listen, Saudi is Saudi.
That's what I knew you'd say, yeah.
No, seriously,
I
Saudi.
agree.
I don't agree with all the BS what those people are involved in. My religion is not Saudi. The Haramain happen to be there, but that's not my religion.
Baba, just one point. In Saudi, the law made by Saudi family, so not by Muslim family or by Islamic.
Are they Jews? Are the Saudi family Jews?
No, we're not saying Jews.
Thank God. Because I hear that all the time here as well.
But they are slaves to the Judaism. They are slaves to Zionists. We know that. Sorry to interrupt you. Carry on.
Do you know what I find fascinating? I understand why this guy
Don't take Saudi as an example because the law there is a Saudi law, not Islamic law.
I tell you what.
I would say it has some secularism with it, mixed into
Jews,
Islamic law.
Well, they use Islam to protect themselves. But
I ain't going to say that. I ain't going to say that.
I say so.
I'm saying there's secular laws mixed into Sharia.
I tell you what.
They are secular and they use Islam to protect themselves.
If Jews spent as much time spent as much time researching Muslims and watching YouTube videos about Muslims as Muslims watch about Jews, we never have time to run the banks.
You do. Yeah, and that. But listen, you don't think that there are Jewish think tanks that look at Islam to subvert Muslims? Of course there is.
I believe in the West, because of terrorism, there are Jewish, Christian, and non-Muslim
Terrorism.
non-Muslim think tanks.
Define terrorism.
Terrorism, using violence to inflict terror for a political.
So hold on.
For political
3 years
cause.
3 years ago, somebody ditched a plane into the Swiss Alps. I don't know if you remember. He killed something like 250 innocent people. Yeah. Now, when they crashed the plane, the Muslims! That was the first thing they said. Then they found out the geezer that was firing the plane, he had some mental issues. Now, if you were sitting on that plane, when the guy says, yo, I'm gonna crash this plane, you know, because I've got some mental issues. When you were waiting for that plane to crash, were you in a state of terror?
Yeah.
Was that terrorism?
No. So let me explain why.
No.
According to the name.
No.
His name is Abdullah Muhammad, is terrorist.
It's
That's
a
my point.
horrendous.
But if it's
That's my
David,
point.
his mental has some mental
So
health
only
problems,
Muslims can be terrorists.
No.
Only Muslims are terrorists.
So when the Irish were blowing crap out of this
They were
country,
That's a separatist, you know, they separate.
Can I?
but the Irish were political.
Yeah.
But the Irish weren't called terrorists.
They were terrorists. They were called a terror organization.
Even ETA and
ETA
Bilbao.
considered terrorists. They're all considered terrorist organizations because they're inside.
Oh, they are now.
Look,
No, they're
what they
now.
say, brother, what they say, for example,
Wait, will you
terrorist,
wait?
sorry, they say
Tell
terrorist
you what, guys,
ETA.
I'm gonna bow out of this, I'm getting a bit of a
They don't say,
headache.
Baba, they don't say Bilbao terrorist, you know, are you with me? Yeah. David, are you going? You had a nap.
And the Muslim Quran.
Come take over everything from your humanity.
Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to Sky Rajiv.
You see, the difference between white people and black people is white people will take out their own trash. Black people doesn't. Same goes to the Islamic community. Just look at the recent incident where a white person knocked out an old lady and so on street on 14th September. Many white people were up in arms to see crime.